What is up, everybody? This is Lyle with No Hippie Trucking and Transport Wannabe. And I had a few people say, Lyle, you talk about Prime so good. Every company has some bad things. What don't you like about Prime? A couple things I had to think about. A couple things kind of stood right out, hit me in the face. I could only really come up with three. So here's the three things that I don't necessarily hate them, but they're things I would change if I could. All right. Now, one would be the truck speed, and I understand that the trucks, are governed at, whatever speeds they're governed at for safety reasons, things like that. I look at it kind of from a safety issue on the opposite side. So let's say I'm driving at night, and this just happened to hit me last night when I was driving. So you're driving at night, it's super dark, and these trucks are passing you up. First of all, having that many trucks pass you by, sometimes that could be a safety hazard in its own. But, sometimes these trucks will pass you by and you want to just stick with them so you could almost, not necessarily travel in a pack, but, it's almost like having a CNI dog, except it's a truck that's in front of you that you can kind of snuggle up behind and, lead you on your way. So, if those speeds were, maybe pumped up a little bit, I really don't mind them being 65 miles an hour. There's only certain times that I wish that we could roll just a little bit faster. Sometimes, and I'm going to just keep it real, sometimes we are just a nuisance on the highway. It is what it is. We may be a safe nuisance, but we are a nuisance traveling at that speed on some of these highways, especially when you get in some of these places that have like 80-mile-an-hour speed limits, and you got trucks. Funny story, when I first started driving, I was in Pennsylvania, and I think I might have been going like 60 or something like that. It was like the first week, and my first trainer, and we're going to get into that, why I changed trainers in a different video, but let's get back on. So 60 miles an hour, and over the CB radio, somebody said, fucking Prime, head of the Congo line. It was kind of funny. I mean, I was too new to actually find the humor in it. But anyway, faster trucks, I think they're, that would be one thing that I would change a little bit, just so we could kind of stick with some other trucks, because when you're out there by yourself and everybody's passing you up, sometimes it's just it takes some strain off your eyes to be looking at another truck and just following that truck as opposed to just driving down the highway. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but it makes sense to me. That's how I feel. The second thing really isn't a problem for most people, but I hear everybody talking about, freight is low, and they ain't got no freight or anything like that. You know what? In 1 week, I didn't even count up the miles, and I'm a little irritated by this situation today. Me and my trainer busted our butts to get out to California a day and a half early on this load, and then since we were out here early, the dispatcher basically wanted him to do a little bit of busy work, so wanted us to drop our trailer from that one, pick up another trailer, and drop it 13 miles away from the drop yard. So I just wanted to chill out, just chill out a good 14 hours, something like that. But anyway, in 1 week, we went from Denver to Wyoming, deadheaded out to Kansas City, took that load to Noonan, Georgia, picked up another load, deadheaded to Alma, Georgia, and picked up a load coming back to Denver, and then picked up another load in Denver, dropped it in Denver, picked up another load in Denver, drove it to North Platte, Nebraska, from North Platte, Nebraska, out to California, and then we dropped another one. So I'm missing a couple because these things are out of order, but there was another load in there from Grand Island, Nebraska to Wilmington, California. Anyway, I think I might have got that messed up, but these loads just come back to back to back. I mean, I'm hearing people saying, you know, freight is slow, and even people at Prime saying, you know, they're sitting around waiting on the weekends. And I'm telling you right now, I wish I had that problem, because sometimes it's like you just dropped a load, or even before you drop a load. But let's say you just drop a load, you're about ready to relax, and next thing you know, a new important message has arrived. A new important message has arrived. A new important message has arrived, and it's your next load to pick up. You know, so, you know, just being able to chill out just a minute and enjoy the fact that you just dropped that load would, you know, be nice. And, you know, my trainer's a lease operator, so he probably, you know, doesn't mind it as much. Right now I'm just getting paid a flat fee. But even then, even if I was getting paid per load, I wouldn't want to be like running that constant all the time. I mean, there's like no breaks. I can't even tell you how many times we've actually slept in the truck at the same time. It's just rare. Anyway, Prime has loads. If you ain't getting loads, talk to your dispatcher. I don't know. I'm just not seeing that. The third thing, and this is a little bit more serious. Now, if one thing I hate is when people overpromise something and underdeliver, especially when it's not even necessary. And usually people do that when there's really no reason to do it. So here's kind of what happened. So when I decided to go to school at Prime, I drove my own car. Or I didn't drive my own car, I got a rental car. I never asked anybody to reimburse me, never asked anything about it. I was not going to ride a Greyhound. So got my own rental car, and then get done with the school and everything, and my recruiter called me and said, hey, you know, I see you just got, you know, you just graduated, you know, whatever. Send me your, it was send him like the receipts, and I already have the form filled out, and email it to this other person. So I went ahead and emailed it, didn't hear anything back. Waited about probably another month. Emailed again, nothing. I emailed one last time, still haven't heard anything. And the thing that irritates me about it, first of all, like I said, I was planning on doing it myself. I never expected any reimbursement of any kind, but when people go out of their way to overpromise some stuff that they're gonna give you, which, I mean, there was really no reason for him to even say anything about it. I wasn't asking for the money. It just really, you know what, the more I'm thinking about right now, it's actually pissing me off just thinking about it, because it was totally unnecessary to even bring that up. You know, that's one of the biggest problems salespeople have. I come out of a sales field myself, and usually a salesperson overpromises stuff to the people that he really doesn't need to. If he has a great client that he sold a car to, he might be like, come back in a couple weeks and I'll get you like a free, you know, whatever, free floor mats or whatever it is. And then they come back in 3 weeks, and, you know, they can't do it for some reason, and there was really no reason to even tell him that he was going to do it, because he was happy with the experience to begin with. So anyway, I'm going to get off that. As far as Prime goes, I am happier than I thought I was going to be. You know, Prime, other than that one thing about the reimbursement, has exceeded all my expectations. So if you're thinking about coming to Prime, don't think, just go ahead and do that. Anyway, that's about it. I want to thank you guys for stopping by No Hippie Trucking and Transport Wannabe. I appreciate it, and I will be doing a video soon about why I left my first trainer. I just haven't had a chance to get around to that. Anyway, I'm out.